Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mancunian way. I am just going to take the reins for a few minutes while Martin resets his modem. But until then, guys, we've had 24 hours to obviously get ourselves in check after a quite amazing 120 minutes plus penalties. But before we get into that, of course, Aussie, Rich in the building at the moment. How are you, gentlemen?
Very good. Good morning.
Yourself? What are you doing, Rich?
Not too bad at all, Rich. I think we're doing okay for 10 past 6 in the morning, aren't we?
We are, yeah. Slightly dazed. I've got foggy glasses. It's so cold. It's been no heating on in the house overnight.
Yeah. I know at the moment there'll be a few people out and about watching the Europa League results, hoping for certain results to go their way. But until then, I'll see if I can get some of the comments up and just see who's in the building anyway. Just stand by a second. Let's see. Who do we have in the building? We've got, going from the top, FIFA's in the building. Hope you're doing well, mate. Phil, Andrew Hughes, Mingyi Wong. Thanks for the 5 months, mate, as well. Big up yourself. Thank you. Elders in the building, Pardo Oaks. Proud of all our players last night. Thank you, mate. Yeah, I thought so too. I thought they put in a great performance. Ali Garcia's in the building. Hope you're well. Dan, Blue Art, Connor Rigby. How do we feel after last night? We'll be dissecting as much as we can from the last 24 hours or so, because there's certainly been as much happening online as it was on the pitch. So, yeah, we've got plenty to talk about. Rob Middleton's in the building as well. Thank you, Adam Quinn. Lovely computer chip with these Champions League emojis. Thank you, mate. MP, Alpha, Spinks84's in the building. Martin's just posted, yep, we'll have a transfer roundup as well too, guys. Yeah, so plenty to talk about today. Of course, we will be more than likely dissecting Real Madrid, but obviously we're going to have a Chelsea preview. And then if we can fill in some gaps, we'll obviously have some transfer news and transfer stuff to talk about as well, because there has been a couple of things happen since last night. But guys, I'll quickly get your feelings before Martin gets on, and we'll dissect the game itself. But I know there's going to be a majority of people out there that are disappointed, but I don't know if we're the cooler heads that prevail, or how are we feeling overall after all that, because as much as I don't like to go through the dreaded basically 50-50 or coin toss Russian roulette that is penalties, unfortunately that's how we have to sort these sort of games out. But I'll get your thoughts, guys, and I'll come back on mine in a bit.
Ozzy?
Well, obviously hugely disappointed. I think most of us would say we never want it to get to penalties. We always want to see it done, during the playing time, because I think even Madrid fans were probably maybe a little bit more confident, but still having that slight doubt, especially when Modric, his first one was saved. So, hugely disappointed. But I think, like you alluded to it a little bit, Pat, I think, you could say what more could have been done, really. I mean, the players played so well. I mean, you only have to look at the stats. We were in control of the game. In the second half, Real Madrid didn't even, lay a glove on Ersan, literally. Like, they had no shots at all on target. And it was just, you feel a little bit robbed. Do you know what I mean? Because City with a better side by a mile. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because ultimately, as we know in the Champions League, the best team doesn't always, win. Sometimes it's just sheer luck. Real Madrid have got, a historic kind of pulling it out the bag. You know, they somehow just find a way, and they did last night. They found a way to just completely, I suppose, nullify, you know, us from progressing further. Some of the defence last night, they did. They played. You know, their defensive shape was brilliant. They stopped us from really doing very much. And some players were a little bit ineffective. Some players, I think we're going to get into it properly, but I think, you know, for me, like I said, hugely disappointed. And what else can you say, really? Apart from dissecting it, what we can do now. But Rich, go on, mate. I mean,
yeah, no, I mean, you know, very disappointed, quite sad, but you know, I always feel that there's two ways of losing. There's losing like we did this week, which kind of felt we lost fair and square. I'm not sitting here. There's no blaming the refs. I know some people have tried to blame someone holding a ball for too long for Bernardo, but I feel that there wasn't really someone to blame. We were a bit unlucky. They got two, arguably three deflections that got them their goals that on other days could have deflected anywhere else. And, you know, I've got no doubt we were the better team over the two legs. And if we played, you know, especially the second leg again 20 times, I think we'd win 16, 17 times out of the 20 and probably, you know, draw a few and that's life, you know. You know, I think we just handled, and I think one thing I have seen in the main from City fans is handled the defeat with dignity. I mean, one thing that you know, really leads to why I really dislike certain teams in the Premier League is that they win horribly and they lose horribly. If they lose, there's excuses, there's anger, there's bitterness, there's blaming referees, no matter what the circumstance. If they lose the league, they're kind of claiming that City is spending $2 billion extra a year under the table. And we saw that meltdown, that behaviour from two fan bases on Sunday when they wrote off the league. And honestly, I think in general, I think City fans are better than that. I think we can be humble in victory because no one likes a bad winner, and we can take it on the chin when we lose. You know, be disappointed. Think, what can we do better next year? What can we do better? And there's a big lesson for this. We've played Madrid in 3 knockout on the trot in the knockout rounds of the Champions League, and we've been the better side 3 years. No question we were the better side 2 years ago. No question we were the better side last year. No question we were the better side this year. But Madrid have won 2 of those 3. So Madrid have been able to, through, you know, and not through dodgy refereeing or anything else, but through character, through holding on, through dogged defence, tactically, mentality, whatever you want to call it, Madrid have beaten a better side 2 out of 3 years. And the one thing that should come for that is that City should try and learn what is it, what mentality, what tactical thing, what defending with their life thing do they do that's enabled that, and try and learn from it and try and build 5-10% more of that into our game, because the truth is we should be playing Bayern Munich and we're not, and you know that's disappointing. The other thing that, you know, noticed yesterday and I think we were pretty dead on our feet. So I think the players are suffering the after effects of, you know, whether it's last season, whether it's this season, whether it's the season before. You know, we look tired, and you know it would, you know, we'll never know, sadly, but would we have coped with those extra 3 games on top of all the other games we've got? You know, that's something I guess we'll never know. But they did, to me, a few of them look pretty run down last night. Madrid too, but Madrid haven't got coming in the next month what we would have had coming. So, you know, disappointed, but you know, onwards and upwards. It's all about Saturday. You know, which play, you know, are we going to see a few players like De Bruyne and Haaland and Akanji who all look like they asked to come off or needed to come off? You know, are they going to be ready? What's the best side we can get out against Chelsea? Because, you know, we've got more breaks now than we would have expected to have. Because let's go on, complete that four-peat, which on its own makes this one of the most successful seasons in City's history and one of the most successful seasons in English football history. So let's go and get that, but let's go and get the FA Cup as well. Let's not let United have a, you know, well, unless they go and lose to Coventry, but let's not let them have a free hit at a trophy, you know, which they don't deserve and we do.
Yep. No, I agree with a lot of what you said, gentlemen. Yeah, there's been results, we've had unfavourable results in the last several years that still make me feel way more disappointed than this does. I just think, you know, you look at these two fixtures and, you know, it's a combination of an immovable force, you know, stop trying to prevent an unstoppable object, basically. If that's the way you say it, I'm not sure. But look, the thing that I'm most disappointed about, I try to look at this from a neutral perspective, is what we've just seen is more than the best part of, you know, God, 210 minutes basically of absolute showcase football, putting European football on the world stage, putting the highest quality football on the world stage for everyone to see. And I'm not pointing the blame at UEFA, but I'm sorry, this should have been the semi-final or even the final, because let's be honest, these fixtures that we've just had at the Bernabeu and at the Etihad are all cup final worthy, and that would have been the absolute showcase. It's just a shame that we don't live in that world where we can choose where fixtures are going to be, but you know for a fact they were good enough to be. They will play, but they should have been cup final worthy, basically.
Yeah, I agree with you, Pat, that would make a great final, but I would hate to see. I think it would ruin football if they introduced seeding and we had teams kept apart to final.
No, I get that, but I'm just thinking in a perfect world. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's a shame.
It would happen by random luck.
Yeah. It is what it is. But yeah, look, I can't. Yeah, you can't take too much away from what Madrid did. I think they played their game plan well. Sure, they probably could have attacked a bit more, but you know, their defense this season was like, where was that last season when they needed it? You know, in a way. And I'm sure there's a few of their.
It's amazing how Rudiger.
Why did Rudiger play last year?
Becomes Maldini, doesn't he, when he plays City? I watched him a few times in other games. He looks like a cart horse.
That's what I want to know.
He looks like a cart horse when he's not playing against City half the time.
Right.
And against City, he just mentally, he's just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea letting him walk out the door was probably one of their big mistakes, really.
Mm. All right, man.
Carry on. You've been extremely quiet.
Carry on.
A little bit too quiet.
Yeah, it's worrying me. I don't like it when it's this quiet. He's usually got.
I've already got my horse. He's already got the reins. Off you go. TNT.
No. You three go on. Bloody hell. Jumping at the bit there. You three, aren't you?
We're telepathic, us three.
Good evening, all. I apologise for my thing. All right, if you're going to do that, I'll cop that to the top then. Right, anyway, Real Madrid. I don't know what the lads have been saying. My Wi-Fi is dying of death at the minute. I've had new modems fitted and it's not gone out as well as it should. But hey ho, we'll see. Yes, I have changed my name to the Manc Twat TMT because that's now how I'm referred to alongside social media, which is always lovely. So if my stalkers are watching, good evening. I'm glad that I keep you so entertained. Apparently, I've got so much power in this world that I control what the City fan base think. Yeah, okay. Anyway, Real Madrid, I'm a disappointed we're out, 100%. Am I proud of the boys? 100%. I've never seen defensive football celebrated in that way that I have today. 3 years ago, Liverpool were, when we won the league, Liverpool were, they should get a trophy because they played the best football. That's the rhetoric that went out. Liverpool should get a trophy because they played beautiful football. Now teams are coming to the Etihad and blocking up, which is perfectly fine. I've no problem with that. I took it as a bit of a bonus for me. You know, Real Madrid, the mighty Real Madrid coming up and low blocking at the Etihad. Take it as a compliment, me. But apparently now, I'm watching other channels, etc. We now have to celebrate defensive low block football like it's amazing and world class. And I 100% I understand it is part of the game and it's tactical. No, again, I have no problem with it. My problem comes with when rhetorics change to suit narratives. When Manchester City do this, when we went to Anfield and we had to defend all second half, we were crap. When other teams come to the Etihad, it is celebrated like they've won a league. And all it tells me is there is a major hate of Manchester City in this country and around the world. There is a major hate. And I've said this weeks ago, I think we have now gone beyond the Man United level of the 90s. I think we are so hated now, it is unreal. And I don't mind it. I love it. Yeah, I would rather they talk about us than not.
So Martin, I'll disagree on one thing on that. I find we're hated by certain Big Six teams. I find when I talk to fans of nearly, Newcastle, West Ham, Sheffield Wednesday, even to a degree actually Chelsea as well. I don't think we are. I think we're hated by Liverpool, Arsenal, and United because we've taken their lunch, we've eaten it, and we've handed back the plates for them to do the washing up. They hate us. I don't think the rest of the fans do. I think most other fans who I talk to still would prefer City to win the league than Liverpool or Arsenal because of the arrogance and entitlement of Liverpool and Arsenal fans. But the online hate from three clubs, you could probably add Spurs in to that as well, is huge, is colossal. And you're right on that. But I think it's only the ones who are hated more than us because of the way they behave as fan bases who hate us that much.
Was it right that I did hear, I think it was Andy Townsend on TalkSport, he was kind of talking about, is Manchester City a bigger club than the likes of Arsenal, the likes of Chelsea, the likes of Spurs? And I think, honestly, there's the argument to say we haven't got the fan base, but, you look at what we've won in the last decade, it's arguable to say that I think we are bigger than the likes of Arsenal and Spurs, even Chelsea to a point, because the dominance that we've had over this league has been immense, and I think in years to come when, we're analysing, not just us, but just football in general is analysing City, they'll go City dominated like past Liverpool's and Man United's. It'll be looked at and analysed in that way that this Pep side was immense. And if Pep stays for another few more years, and again continues to dominate the league, I think you could seriously have the argument to say he's probably the best manager this league has ever seen.
Well, here's one, Ozzy. Do you remember Jose Mourinho at Tottenham? Everyone hated him because he played negative football. United used to have the United way. It was the Busby Babes way of playing football. Now, they had to play sexy, quick, attractive football. All of a sudden now we are celebrating Jose Mourinho football. And again, I have no problem with it. But don't go on other shows or do shows where you are slagging defensive football off when other teams do it, but then because it's against Manchester City, we celebrate. Is Rich all right? Do I need to call an ambulance? I don't know what's going on now.
I have a camera that sits on top of the laptop.
Rich.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy you a mic stand for your birthday, Rich.
I just need to get these out of the way, 'cause people. Mingy Wong, thank you for renewing for the fifth month, mate. You are a legend. Excuse my voice; it's still a bit edgy from last night. Again, it's another thing I read. There was no atmosphere in the stadium last night. What? Chroma Base member for 2 months. Thank you, mate. And Daniel has renewed for a 10th month. You are all legends. Thank you so much for your generosity. And Singing the Blues, I started this because that was a great example. Someone does it versus other teams it's criticised. Go back to Inter Milan versus Barcelona Champions League final. That's my point. Again, nobody wants Jose Mourinho at their ground because he plays negative football. But then we're celebrating it, glorifying it. Again, I have no problem with it, but don't, in one instance, slag it off, and then because it suits a narrative, you then praise it like it's world renowned. We've got to stop this.
I think you have to praise Real Madrid because it was quite obvious that coming into this game, they knew they couldn't beat City. It's in going toe to toe. They just couldn't do it. And, to me, I think what you were saying about look at the whole respect of just them having to basically play this defensive football because they knew they couldn't outplay us. And that, to me, that just kind of goes, wow, we're completely dominating Real Madrid to the point of where they can't play their own football. Their whole game plan was defensive.
Alan is joining us. Alan will be brought in front of the court and will be spoken to. Don't worry. I have no problem with having an opinion. Alan can go where he wants with it. But don't slag off saying you don't believe anything the media say and they all hate Manchester City, and then you end up on the biggest hate Manchester City media thing there is, slagging off our players. You're just giving ammunition in there. But listen, it's up to him. He's a grown adult. We will never stop anyone having an opinion. To me, do you know what was most annoying about last night for me? Is I thought up until, speak of the devil, I'm going to shut up at this point because, oh no, he's not on camera yet. Oh, here he comes. Because Alan will come and laugh. I'm going to bring him in and let him explain himself. Because I've seen a few people
is he wearing a Liverpool shirt
with this. What?
Yeah. Is he wearing a Liverpool shirt?
Well, I don't know because
anyone who goes in TalkSport slag off City is usually
Alan's
a Liverpool
very hypocritical, and Alan has been very two-faced. And what we are going to allow Alan to do is have his say on why he stabbed City in the back.
And then we're going to sentence him to death.
And then we will all shut up when Alan says, I hate the media. I don't believe a word they say.
Jim White's let himself go.
Narrative.
So is this true, Alan?
So go on, Alan. Explain yourself. This is the point where Alan's Wi-Fi died.
Is he actually frozen? If ever there was a time for him to freeze, he's so grateful it happened now. Look at it.
Wow.
He's frozen.
That's a lot.
He's even made YouTube with it.
The way we play, when teams sit back and we have to play side to side, side to side, side to side, side to side, and hardly get behind. And we had Foden on the right, like you said, Martin, in our text messages, and Bernardo in the middle. It should have been the other way around. We don't have any inventive players in the middle to feed him, and he just, to me, you're right saying he pulls players off from one way or the other. He didn't, because there are that many players in the box. And when he feeds the ball to him with his feet, he couldn't trap anything. He did it 3 times in a whole game. So he's got to. I'm not slagging him off. Listen. I'm not slagging him off. I'm not slagging him off.
Oh, you did.
But I didn't. No, I didn't. I asked people to go and watch it. I sent Richard the link as well, so he knows it. And I said he's got to improve his game. And he's still young enough to do that. And I did say that, Martin. So I didn't slag him off. I said I'm concerned because we're good. I also said we missed Mahrez and Gundogan because the amount of times he pulls out of the mire was unbelievable. I don't.
I'm going to pull you.
Saying Mahrez didn't score because he did against PSG, if I remember rightly.
That was 2 years ago.
Well, hang on, PSG, Poland away, quarterfinals, and semi-finals.
He also missed a sitter
2 years ago, Alan.
That cost us going out against Real Madrid.
Hang on. Oh, have you just got back?
So did KDB. So did KDB last night. An absolute sitter from 4 yards.
Alan, you can go wherever you want, mate. But of all the places you rock up on is talk shit. The actual radio station that despises Manchester City.
There was also a Manchester correspondent on there as well after me.
Alan, you told a number of lies. I come over as often as I can. No, you don't. You haven't been over in 5 years. Listen, don't Billy bullshit a bullshit to Sunshine.
At least Martin's admitted it now.
What?
No, listen. Look, Alan, people in the comments are judging you, mate. Even Elliot said he's disappointed in you. What? Disgraceful from Alan. Embarrassing. Problem with our fan base.
Elliot, here he is. He's my hero.
All my days. Alan, why are you a City fan? You're talking shit about our players. Alan's a Toure. Bloody hell. It's all going off here. Alan, it's the talk sport part, mate.
All I'll say, Alan, is you should, after this show, you should go and read up about Lord Haw-Haw. Lord Haw-Haw in World War II. And, what happened to Lord Haw-Haw when he went on enemy radio to do the job of the enemy.
Anyway, right. No, we'll get into it. Good evening, Bates. How are you, mate?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Right.
Good to see
How are you, mate?
Bates is outside his luxury mansion at the moment. If you know, you know.
No, there's no such thing. No, I wish.
Oh, Elliot. Hashtag Alan out. Ooh,
I know. I've just seen it.
Good.
Alan.
Yeah.
We'll let you apologise
We'll
at
speak to
the
it
end
later.
of the show, mate. Don't you worry. Anyway, well, get into it. Listen, I mean, personally, I'll be straight with you. I disagree. I don't think Haaland was overly bad last night. I thought he was actually work rate was higher than it's been in a long time. What people don't realise is he's still carrying that foot injury and has been playing on painkilling injections for about 3 weeks. But people don't realise this. The other thing is as well is that I don't know what we're asking Haaland to do anymore. Because here's me issue. Alan, let me speak. When you've got a Kanja, Gavardio, and Rodri on the edge of our box attacking, they're not the players I want feeding balls into Erling Haaland.
No.
Not at all. Our two playmates. Bernardo Silva was in the midfield last night. I'm going to break everyone's hearts here. He ain't a playmaker, everyone. So what's he frigging doing in the midfield? Phil Foden should have been in the midfield. And Bernardo Silva should be on the right wing. Now, he swapped it at half-time. That's fine. No problem. But my issue is you cannot have a prize bullfighter and not feed him the right stuff. The guy feeds off absolute scraps.
Yeah, agreed.
When we play the ball into him, Crystal Palace, he scores. One touch, bang. I understand, listen, yes, could he do better as a hold-up player? Of course he can. But we bought him. He has to learn to develop into that role. He was not bought to play. We're doing this. I want Harry Kane. We didn't buy Harry Kane. We have to turn him into that if you want that. The same way it took Aguero 12 months to adjust.
And no one wants Harry
This is
Kane.
Haaland in crap and he scores 31 goals. God forbid when he actually gets going.
The thing is,
Coventry City have got more chance of winning a trophy than Kane. That's, no one wants him. It's a kiss of
everyone's
death.
basing Haaland on last year's performance. That's the thing. He went to such a high ceiling last season that everyone is saying, well, he's a bang of shite because, as Alan would say, he's not putting it in the back of the net. When, Martin, you're totally right. Like, the service that he was getting last night was not good enough, if we're going to be brutally honest. I think you're right about Foden, and we kind of said it, that, Pep needed to find a way of fitting KDB and Foden in the midfield. And for such a big game last night, he wasn't able to do it until the second half, and it still didn't look right.
We've got to accept that is a problem. Foden, and for all the talk, and we've had this discussion before, we are not as good a side when we try and play Phil and De Bruyne together. And last night, Phil's totally wasted off the side, but normally Bernardo, to be fair, in midfield, and City actually played well overall. So Bernardo in midfield, he's not a playmaker, but he did help totally cut off Madrid from having any, only a couple of attacks, in the game. And to be fair, even the goal they got, 9 times out of 10, when Edison makes that save, that ball's not going straight back to his foot, it's going somewhere else. So, and I thought Haaland had a good game. I thought he actually
but
had
Haaland's not to blame, Rich. I think
but
ultimately to blame is the service.
It's anyone to blame. But is anyone to blame for last night? We were the better side. We should have scored multiple goals. They defended brilliantly. We hit the post. We had some good saves. We created some really good chances, and the bounce went against us for their goal. I don't know that it was a night for blame, to be honest. It was a night for saying we could have done slightly better, but those things happen, and I don't think Haaland played badly. I think Haaland played well. He nearly scored a very difficult chance. He pulled their defence around. He created space.
Was it the bar or the post yet?
It was kind of. It looked like the bar, but over near the post. But that was an incredibly hard chance.
It was the top of the bar, but it was unlucky.
Yeah, it was an incredibly hard chance that as well.
Alan's giving out credit.
I was
listen. What I will say, and you are right, Ozzy. It wasn't Haaland's, but this is what I'm saying. Are we playing a way that will suit Haaland? Not just last night, but previous weeks as well, or is it Haaland that needs to come up to the level we're trying to play? Because I think we play the way of a false nine better than we do playing towards Haaland. I honestly still think we're playing that passing game, short passing game of trying to walk it in too often, and it doesn't create opportunities for someone like Haaland who likes to get in and behind, and he does.
So hang on, we played the passing game.
Yeah.
And he scored 54 goals. So
yeah.
That's
I know he does.
To be quite clear, Alan,
we're playing against
the only way.
Well, listen, hang on. When we're playing against the top sides, they just sit back. and players on the counter. And because there's no space behind, Haaland really struggles because his link-up play, like Martin said before, can improve, and it needs to improve over the next few years.
I know Alan,
like that every game.
Calling him out like some fans, Alan. The difference is, Alan, is that between constructive criticism and killing the guy.
Well, why am I killing the guy? I'm observing what I saw last night.
Going on a national radio station who hates us, he's just putting fuel on top of a fire.
And I think there isn't an option on that, Alan, to be honest, because we play that way against nearly everyone. It's not just the top sides that sit back. Nearly everyone sits back. You know, we'll probably play 5 games a season out of 17.
Do we want him to go?
No, of course not.
No, I don't want him to go. I want him to improve. I want him to improve. I've never said I want him to go.
Alan, this is my issue. You and some other fans want instant improvement. Straight away.
I never said that. I said he's going to improve over the next few years, and I want him to improve. I actually said those words. If you go back.
But
you should have gone kicking and training.
Pep sacrifices him too. Pep sacrifices him. Pep clearly, tactically, Pep uses Haaland to pull around the defenders and create space. So I think Pep sacrifices him. And that shows about Haaland as a player, that Haaland at times is playing an unselfish game for the team, pulling around the defense, pulling himself out of position to create the space. And I think,
sorry to jump in, mate. Alan did talk about them. Talks about how Gundogan and Mahrez should never have been let go because Mahrez was basically clutch and scored goals in tight games. Until I sent Alan the stats.
I said Gundogan. I said Gundogan as well.
And Mahrez.
But had Gundogan stayed, we'd have had to have got rid of Bernardo or De Bruyne. We cannot, Alan. It's just the short-term thinking that will just. It's what happened to United.
I didn't say
United in 2013. They kept their Gundogan. They kept their. Yeah, we had to make changes, and we're going to have to do it again this season.
So we're missing massively. Massively. I didn't say get rid
you
of
have sat there so patiently, and I do thank you for that. What are your thoughts on last night and all this Haaland situation?
Thoughts on last night? I mean, we can't make this show 3 hours, but when you have a Real Madrid,
Alan on talk show.
That's true. But when you have a Real Madrid with all of the quality that they have, the fact that they go out and they get the best players year after year, and I think they have the highest wage bill. When they have that tremendous quality, and a team like that chooses to defend against Manchester City, there's not much that we can do when you have that great of a quality defending against us. I think it's always going to make games look ugly, difficult, hard to break down when the quality of that team are doing their thing. Sorry, my daughter. 1 second.
I mean, the thing is, a lot of people. The general consensus is that most people really enjoyed it and it was exciting and it offered a lot. So whilst Madrid defended, it did actually create, because of the game it was and everything else, an absolutely gripping game that kept people in front of their TVs for 130 minutes.
It was an unstoppable force against an immovable object, basically. And
it was like watching. It was the really football equivalent for me of Alan Donald against Michael Atherton. For those who remember,
I remember that.
It was a 0-0 draw in cricket terms, but it was one of the best days cricket you'll ever see. And yesterday was a bit like that. Real Madrid were Mike Atherton. They were, stopping absolutely everything, whatever Messi doing it well. And City were.
I'm not having it.
Well, it really was. It was Donald against Atherton yesterday, and
cricket's banned on here, mate.
Well, shouldn't be.
That was at the Wanderers, wasn't it? I think it was at the Wanderers.
Especially not a Lancashire legend.
It was at the Wanderers. It was at the Wanderers. Yeah.
Wanderers, he batted for about 10 hours. Yeah.
it was
It's that old
incredible.
saying, I think, that you can kind of really put into this. It's goals win your games, but defenses win your titles. And last night, that's what Real Madrid did.
Yeah.
They defended for their lives. They got the win that got them over the line. That's ultimately going to take them to the next stage. And that's it. If you really want to break it down to the most easiest thing.
Ozzy, do you know the weird thing is when they won on the away goals last night?
Do you know this thing, by the way? There's a lot of people like Connor, it's your opinion saying Gundo to come back. Listen, I never believe in going backwards. I always believe in going forwards. Listen, if you want Gundogan back, then you need to park all your other potential signings.
No, you might as well just go and watch highlights of previous games where he was in.
We can't be doing this, bring him back, do this, do that.
Yeah.
We didn't do all this for Aguero. Come on. I understand people are nostalgia and they're sentimental and they want it. I get it. Gundo is, Rich getting on to 34. Yes, he's a phenomenal player, do not get me wrong. But there is no guarantees Gundogan. Because look at Kyle Walker, for example. Kyle Walker, last season, everyone was flapping about him potentially going to Bayern Munich. Get him signing new contracts. Now everyone's driving him to the airport. Just because you cannot look, you've got to look at it all on an individual basis at the time.
The thing is, Martin, is the way you need to look at it is that you can't look backwards. You've got to move forwards. And I think we are in that stage now where there are players that have already gone, like the likes of Gundo and Mahrez and even Laporte. And we've still got some of those players here, the likes of Bernardo Silva, the likes of Kyle Walker, the likes of KDB. They're still around. They're still really good players in one-off games, but we're at that point now where we need to think about the next evolution of City. You know, basically what I'm saying is that we can no longer rely so much on the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Kyle Walker, because we've seen this season how well Foden has done when Kevin De Bruyne was out injured. And I think that's the thing now. We need to start moving on from these players. Now, I'm the biggest advocate for Walker. I think he's been amazing for us. And I was one of the people who were saying he should stay last season. But you can see that his time is now coming to an end, and we really seriously need to start bringing in the new players that are going to replace the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, the likes of Walker. That's what we need now going into the next season.
Well, if we're going to do that, we've got to give him the time as well. We can't be doing this panic stations after 6 months.
Can I just a debate on the Walker scenario? What you're saying, Ozzy? You're right. What you say, Ozzy. But the second half of last season, we played with 4 centre backs and we dropped Walker, and he didn't play, and he didn't start in the final either. He played in the semi-final. We played 4 centre backs and we didn't concede hardly any goals, and that's what wins you the Champions League. Don't concede. And we've gone back. We've flipped about 3 seasons by going back to playing Walker and playing this gun-ho football.
And I've not removed him. I swear to God, I've not removed him.
Oh, yeah.
He removed himself there.
Sure.
It happens.
Honestly, I've not removed him. I really have not removed him. Vader, are you there, mate? I know Vader's just dealing with some family issues at the moment. He's just picking up. Vader, if you are there, you are on mute. But I know you're driving in the minute, so don't crash to come off.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, apologies. The thing that I was going to say earlier with regards to Real Madrid and how they played against us and some of the things that Alan was saying earlier, we should expect many, if not all teams, to be defensive like that against us. And for us as a team and Holland as a player, we're going to have to figure out different solutions. We're going to have to figure out different ways. Pep has this philosophy. We're always going to retain possession, and we're going to look for weaknesses within a defense. But how we do it is maybe where we release some of these passes to free up Holland. I think we're equally accountable to be better for him, and he obviously has more to his game that he needs to improve on. But last night in particular, I agree in terms of his like output, what he was doing in terms of like pressing. There was a moment where I think he might have chased down Mendy and forced Mendy to lose the ball out of bounds. Like those are things that we don't often see from him, and I know that he is getting over an injury, so he's probably had to manage his energy. But as a player, we have to develop a few more things that make defenses uncomfortable, and I think that's with his movement, and it's also with us releasing some passes that we don't expect. Unfortunately, when we watch games, there's areas on the pitch where the ball is, and I have no expectations at all that a pass is going to be made from that angle. And I hope that changes for us. I hope a ball to foot from Rodri, or centrally from times when it is a Bernardo Silva, or it is a Foden, or heaven forbid it's even an Akanji in the middle of the pitch that's looking for Holland. I'd like to see more of those. And you guys can say maybe I'm talking crazy, but there's moments where I'm like, the ball is here, this player has the ball. I don't believe any type of pass is coming to Holland, and I think that needs to change for us.
No, I agree, and that's why, to me, I want to see Foden and KDB on the edge of our box. Don't want to see a Kanja and Gavardio, because Real Madrid will allow Gavardio and a Kanja to have the ball all day long at the edge of their box, because they're not scared of them.
Yeah, and Martin, here's another thing too, because when we think of things defensively too, if we don't have to commit an Akanji or a Gavardio so close to their 18-yard box, and we can have passes that get released from our midfielders rather than our defenders, those balls over top or those counters aren't as inviting, aren't as tantalizing for the opposition, because we don't necessarily have to commit so much to have to get these breakdowns. So I think there's obviously more that our club can develop on with regards to Holland, and there's also more that Holland can do in terms of making defenders uncomfortable with where he is. I might lose some phone. My battery's dying out on me, so I might have to.
And I think, and Vader, I think there is an element that I don't think teams do want John Stones getting into those positions, because he does create more danger. I think, Akanji, whilst he's been, you can make an argument Akanji's our best defender this year, he is not close to John Stones in the ability to, position himself, make a run, pass the ball in an attacking sense. And so whilst I think, that tactic of Pep's is designed to have John Stones there, and whilst you said, Martin, that teams are happy to let Guardiola have the ball, Guardiola's scored 2 absolute bangers by being let have the ball on the edge of the area in the last week. So, Akanji doesn't seem to have that in his locker, but quite clearly at Madrid, the biggest danger was created was that space around the edge of the box. And, Guardiola, Foden got 2 fantastic goals because of that. I think what we need to do is, there's a few things we could do that could dramatically change. One is, just taking Jack on a summer camp to teach him how to keep his shots down when he cuts in from the left onto his right foot, because he does that so well, but he does tend to kick the ball high. If he could be trained to kick that, a metre lower and a metre to the left, he'd be banging.
Or Rich telling him just hit him just a few feet to the left or right of the keeper. Because when he does it,
he'd be banging 9, 10, 11 goals a season, and that would be so dangerous. And unfortunately, he's a great player and, important to the side, but that little extra 5-10% there would change the way defenses would have to deal with, especially against that kind of block. But I do think that, you know, part of the reason is sadly there's only one John Stones, and when one John Stones isn't playing, who I think is one of the best players in world football,
Who's again playing
that tactic. Yeah, that tactic is not as good without him, because he's the man. And you know, I think that's and I don't know, you know, we've got to find the next John Stones, and you know, like we need to find the next Gundogan, but we need to find the next generation of those players, not think that bringing back the previous generation at 34 is the way forward for the club, because it's not. We need to be thinking about how we get the next De Bruyne, how we get the next Bernardo, and I don't mean carbon copies for them, but I mean a player who can come in, be a first 11 player, and have the impact or more that they have. So, you know,
just like when you, I think you said like, just like you're like Yaya when Kevin came in, you made that point, didn't you, Rich, where you said, you know, when Yaya was coming to the end of his career, you know, Kevin De Bruyne came in, and we were all like, oh, I mean, you know, he's not going to be Yaya, but no, he was Kevin De Bruyne.
He's not Yaya, but he took the ownership of the.
We do that as fans, though. It's like Pete. I see it already with Bernardo Silva. Alan, you're guilty of this majorly of. But he's not Bernardo. We're not
talking about fan favorite. We're talking about fan favorites who do a job. But you need to have other players come in, and they're going to do a different job.
No, but that's work with those players. Never sign like for like. There is not another Gundogan out there. There is not another Bernardo Silva out there. There is not another.
There's not another De Bruyne. There's not another Stones.
By someone who's a little bit different, but can do that role in a different way, and that's how you move on as a team. It's how you grow as a team. It's how you mature as a team. Like we didn't. Aguero was Aguero. David Silva was David Silva.
But what we do need, Martin, is that, you know, where Alan has a point, and the point was not served by keeping them, but the point is both Mahrez and Gundogan brought goals. You know, they are players. But Gundogan did, but overall they are players who, through their time at City, brought goals. You know, they're players because of the nature of their play, and we need to replace those goals. We don't need to replace those players identically, but we have to have those goals.
I've had loads of people throw this at me. Ilkay Gundogan, totally agree. But I think if you actually look, Rodri scored more goals and assists than Gundogan this season. So Rodri's picked up that slack. When you look at the goals and assists, Rodri has more than Gundogan.
But maybe he's done that at the sacrifice of some of the control we had. Whereas if we had someone, you know, because I love Doku as a signing. You know, I've really enjoyed Doku this season, and you know, we've got Nunes and Kovacic, but those three, they'll be in single figures between the three of them. And when you lose Mahrez and Gundo, who between them had often scored upwards of 30 goals, you know, we were never going to get more goals.
Gundogan scored all them goals in every single season he was there, Rich.
No, I'm saying, but they often scored between them.
Hang on, this is where I kick back. We are doing Beta's dying. Beta hopefully will get in the studio and come back. We're doing what a lot of people do. We're comparing someone 7 years down the line to someone 7 months down the line. It's not a fair comparison to do that.
Who are you talking about? Who are we comparing?
So, for example, everyone's going, Kovacic and Nunes are not doing what Gundogan does. 2 reasons. We've changed our style.
They haven't played. So,
I know. But also, look at Gundogan in the first year, Rodri in his first year, Sterling in his first year, Bernardo in his first year, Jack Grealish in his first year. I can go on and on and on and on with all these. They were not doing what their predecessors were doing at the time, because it takes time to come in and develop. what we've become, whether we like to admit this or not, is a very impatient bunch. And we do this. He did this last season, yes, because he was 7 years in. We're not going to do what he did then.
But Mahrez, with the exception of one season, he scored similar amounts. 4 of his 5 seasons, he scored between 12 and 15. One season, he scored 24. So generally, Mahrez was there, good for 15 goals a season. Gundogan played a very different role early on, and only probably scored less than 5 goals in his first season or two due to injuries and playing at the back. But
Riyad Mahrez,
what I'm saying is,
when did Riyad Mahrez
they brought in goals. He signed 6 years ago?
2018.
2018, yeah.
Yeah.
Got 12 goals, 13 goals, 14 goals, 24 goals, 15 goals.
He scored 7 goals in his first season.
He scored 12. Maybe you're just looking in Premier League.
Yeah, because I don't include Carabao Cup and FA. What are we doing here?
We're talking about Champions League games, so you have to include goals in different comps.
Right. The point I'm making is, Rich, 7 goals, and he spent a lot of his first season on the bench near the end. Yeah?
Well, that makes the 7 goals even stronger then. I think what we're saying is we're not criticising individual players. We're saying
how many goals
when you take goals out of a team, you have to add goals.
How many goals?
Because Haaland was never ever going to get as many as last season, and if you take out, that has, it has harmed at big moments. Is there a player, if we get to the last game of the season against West Ham, is someone going to make that back post run that Gundogan made? Or is someone, going to get us the goal Mahrez did down at, was it Brighton?
Right. Okay,
have we got that?
I agree with you on that. So in the FA Cup, Mahrez scored 2 goals, 1 assist. Premier League, 7 goals, 4 assists. Champions League, 1 goal, 4 assists. Right?
What I said last night when you criticised him was in the tight games, the ones that are on a knife edge, the amount of times Mahrez and Gundo scored goals.
Give me the season, Alan.
Yeah, I don't care. They still scored important goals for us, right? And we haven't replaced them. And we're missing, word for word, we are missing them massively.
No, nobody's getting my point. Nobody's understanding my point here.
Yeah.
Doku is doing exactly what everyone else did in their first season. He's not doing anything different than Mahrez did. The point I'm making is we're not giving the guys these guys the opportunity to improve. You're cutting them off at the knees 7 months down the line. And you went mad for that, Rich and Alan, when people did that with Grealish.
Grealish played well last night.
And you're doing the exact same now on other players.
Well, Grealish played well.
I'm talking about the team. I'm not criticising. No one's criticising individual players. I'm just saying, as a team, we've got to fill that gap so that next season, when we go back again, we've got those goals spread around the team again.
Gundo rocked up with 1 knee, Rich.
Yeah, and played number 6.
And then wrecked his back halfway through.
No, I'm not saying you're not getting my point. What we're doing as fans is that. But Rich, we are doing it. You've just said it yourself. He's not doing what Gundogan and Mahrez did.
Man, could I use a comparison? What
you're taking that as a criticism of the players. I'm not saying that they can be expected to straight away. I'm saying that's the gap we've got to fill. That's the gap we've got to fill.
It doesn't happen in 6 months.
Yeah, well, maybe it'll happen by Doku next season.
Straight away.
Yeah, and
what is happening is some fans are treating our players like Chelsea treats their managers.
Spot on. Thank you, Pat.
That's what it is.
They just
want success like flicking on a light switch.
But no,
we've never done that. We've never done that, Rich.
Yeah, and that's not
Bernardo Silva. They all took a season to bet in.
That is not for 1 second what I'm saying. Absolutely. I've probably the biggest happy clapper on this bloody channel. So don't for 1 second think I'm criticising those players. But I'm saying, as a team, as we go forward, we have got to replace those things. I'm not saying that someone comes in and does it day one, Perhaps the criticism is that we should have signed Docky 12 months earlier. Perhaps the criticism is that we should have thought about replacing Gundogan 12 months earlier because we didn't.
No, I get what you're
handle
saying.
it well.
Like have them
But
a
we
year
have
before
to-
they pass the torch
you
from their
can't-
veteran, the
you know,
veteran replacement.
You can't. Yeah,
I get that.
Okay,
when
I'm
Sterling-
going to really shock you all now. Do you really want to go down that road, Rich? Because we'll do it. Right. Yes, Gundogan came in.
Martin, you're arguing with a shadow. You're arguing
I'm
with
not,
something that no one's
Rich,
arguing
what do
against.
you normally do? Let me speak. You do what you normally do.
It's okay. I'll drop the mic and leave in a second because I have to. But you know, I'm not saying anyone hits.
We're not having this hit and run yet.
Formidable. Mate, you don't like any criticism at all. Whenever I said that, you've got 2 ears, Formidable. Please use them. Whenever I said, I'm allowed an opinion, Formidable.
So are we.
Alan, shut up a minute and let me speak. No, I'm not dealing with fucking childishness tonight. I'm not dealing with it. Listen, Formidable. Have the respect that they're allowed their opinion and I'm allowed mine. And if I don't agree, it's criticism, Formidable. That's not fair. That's really not fair, Formidable. I'm allowed my opinion as well. I don't agree with what Rich and Alan are saying. Alan is acting like a spoilt brat. I'm not getting what I want, so I'm going to throw my toys out. That's fine. If you don't like it, Formidable, unsubscribe and leave. Simple as. I'm not bothered about criticism. What I'm bothered about, Formidable, is I'm allowed my opinion as well. That's the difference. And for some reason,
you want to get an idea of how bad it is in other
around
fan
me.
bases, go and listen to Lee Gunner for 5 minutes and just listen to some of the crap that he has to deal with. Because I pray that our fan base doesn't even get to a slight percentage of what
I
they
apologize, Pardo-Wolves. We're going to get back because we're not doing this argument.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Alan,
Keep subscribing.
That's you formidable. That just goes to everyone. I just pray
stop
we
the
don't
winding
turn
up
into
stuff, Alan, and
other
get
fan
serious,
bases where
please. Was what you lot don't realise is Alan tries to goad people into an argument, and I'm not going to allow it anymore. The point, I'm not saying what Rich and Alan down the road are right. I'm saying is you've got to give them the time. Ilkay Gundogan in his first season had 4 goals, 1 assist, and he played 1,600 minutes. That's
We need
exactly
to
the
sign
same
them.
as where
Then we
you're
need to
at
sometimes sign the players a season early then because
then that's a debate, Rich. I agree.
yeah,
But my
you
point
need to
is,
sign them
Rich,
because
Alan,
I don't think people hit the
Alan
ground.
Nunez off.
Yeah.
Nunez has got 5 assists.
I mean, with the exception of Aguero and Haaland, people don't hit the ground running
Yeah,
and
Tom.
goal scoring.
So he has hit the ground
all
running.
that.
But defenders are a different story.
Then we should have taken action a year earlier because, you know, ultimately, you know, there are players who are, I guess, stat machines and players who you can see play great football. They're vital, and stats aren't everything, except for the fact ultimately at the end of the season you need goals, you need clean sheets, you need assists, and we have had some players like Sterling that weren't like necessarily. You know, I was a big fan of Sterling, who constantly got goals and assists. Mahrez and Gundogan both overweighted in that, so they were players who brought a lot to the table. Now, obviously, Sterling went and Haaland came in, so there was no missing what anyone did that season he went, because Haaland came in and got more goals and assists than, you know, Santa Claus. But the season after that, Haaland drops off a bit, and we are a bit less effective overall. Foden stepped up, so Foden has probably stepped up and, you know, has doubled his output, so he's certainly offset some of that loss, but I don't think we have quite the directness in that goals and assist in general in the squad as a few years ago. So we just have to, you know, is that about improving the players? So Doku, no question, will get more goals and assists as he settles in and gets used to the Premier League. I'm not sure that Grealish and Bernardo will change dramatically because they could, but I don't. Gundogan got so many more goals because his role changed a lot. I don't think that Bernardo and Grealish are going to be playing more attacking, more space roles. So when we make our signings this summer, I think we should have a look at, you know, when we're signing a midfielder, someone who's going to step up and maybe get, you know, certainly 8, 9, 10 goals in a season. You know, next time we sign an attacking player, someone who is good for goal season, because I do think you need those threats. And, you know, I think our goals have partly the way we play, but have become very more centered on Haaland the last 2 years, obviously. And we just need to think, you know, how do we get a bit more? And maybe partly it's, you know, Alvarez losing a little bit of form and a little bit of goal threat, you know, over the last few months, that he, you know, he did or should offer that. But I don't know, just what can we do to improve a team that outplayed Real Madrid considerably but went out against a worse team, which ultimately has happened. You know, I accept that. I'm not going to argue Real Madrid deserved it, but next season, what's going to be different so that we win that game 2-1 when it inevitably happens again in the semi-final, that we play them and we're the better team and we go through. That's all, you know, I'm talking about.
No, I understand that, right? The point I made is I think there's too much criticism on new players too soon. Núñez this season, for example, and everyone's going to go mad at this, he's only played 16 games. Yeah. 804 minutes, not a lot. 1,500 in total. He's got 5 assists already. Now, I understand people. See, Alan, you're smiling. Come on, let's get serious. I understand people want to do this, but then you look at other players in their first season, 2 assists. We're very jump on them. And I think some of it, Rich and Alan, I think some of it is because it wasn't the players they wanted in summer.
Yeah. And some players aren't goal scorers. You know, Kovacic was never going to get, he's never been a goal scorer. He was never going to get goal scoring. I wouldn't criticise for a second Kovacic for not scoring, because
Bernardo Silva's not a goal scorer.
No, he isn't. He isn't. Grealish isn't. You know, we do have,
exactly,
you know, a few, but that's what I'm saying, is that sometimes they're playing where maybe in the past we had players like Sterling and Sané and things who, you know, were that, what I don't know what the term is, stat padders. No, that sounds a bit rude about them, but they were able to get the goals and assists. I think.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, you have to have players in your team.
There was an argument for Mahrez in the first season or two with that, because he did score quite a lot of goals.
His second last season.
That's not criticism. That's just an observation. That was just an observation.
He got 24 goals in 2022.
In Mahrez's first season, he played 2,551 minutes, 12 goals, 12 assists in all comps. Jeremy Doku this season has played 2,000 minutes, so 500 less. He's got 6 goals, 8 assists.
Yeah, I love Doku.
So my point I'm making is, the point I'm just trying to make is that they're all kind of on the same levels of where they were in the first seasons. That's why I always say judge them more in the second season. Yeah. Alan, if Núñez is crap next year and doesn't progress, I'm on the train with you, mate. I'm with you and I'm there. But give him the year.
And Núñez is interesting. Núñez is interesting because, you know, I think we can all see that Pep trusts Doku. There's no question from straight away, Pep trusts Doku. And Doku has played, I would think, more than most of us thought he'd probably play this season. You know, we saw with Calvin Phillips that Pep did not trust him. Whereas with Núñez, he's sort of halfway in between. Pep doesn't trust him, but he doesn't distrust him either. He's kind of in that middle ground. A few players we've signed have been in, and some have gone on to success and some have gone on to kind of drop off in the second season and not get it. So it's interesting because quite clearly, yeah, Doku's a player Pep's made up his mind. He's one for City, he's one for us. And Phillips was one who Pep made up his mind really quickly. Nah. And Núñez, Pep's a bit like, Anyway, I'm going to have to say
And
goodnight and leave you
formidable.
to.
By the way, formidable. That's fine. That's your opinion. You're the one who came after me,
Absolutely.
mate. I don't know why.
Yeah. Does
Right.
Martin Haaland have a sweet left foot?
No. For some weird reason, I'm barred from having an opinion anymore. I've got to go with. Do people just see me as the host and I'm banned from opinion?
No, it's because you said you had a better left foot than Liam Brady.
I don't know. I must be banned from my own opinion now. So if I say something different to you or Alan, I'm wrong.
Rich.
I'm a dick.
Yeah.
Have a good weekend, mate.
You go and enjoy your work.
You too.
Or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I will. Cheers. Bye.
Take care, mate. Right, Ozzy, let's move on because we're just going around in circles. We'll come to the transfers in a minute. Chelsea at weekend. Obviously, important game. Semi-final. We're at Wembley again. We have just played 120 minutes. I know it's hard because there's no press conference yet and we don't know who's fit, ready, raring, whatever at the moment. But are you expecting a lot of changes? And can we make a lot of changes?
No, if I'm being brutally honest. I mean, I'm just going to slightly swerve in between the two games because there's something that was said in the commentary during the game was one of the comments say, like, you look at City's bench, it's full of world-class superstars. And I was just thinking to myself, is it? Did I miss something? Because... I mean, no offense. I mean, yeah, you got Doc. We've kind of gone through it. We've gone Doku, Alvarez. Really, with the only two players with a bit of a goal threat. You know, Alvarez hasn't been particularly brilliant. You know, for the last few weeks, and Doku, as brilliant as he can be, you know, isn't a prolific goal scorer. And the rest of the bench, you know, you were just looking and going, where's the goal threat coming from? Where's the difference maker? Because it wasn't on the bench last night. So for me, like, I think you've got to look at it that now looking at the Chelsea game, there are probably going to be a lot of players with burnt out that are going to need time to recoup and get ready, but I don't really think you can rest anybody. You know, I think you've pretty much the same team that started against Real Madrid is going to have to start against Chelsea because Chelsea at the moment have got the bit between the teeth. You know, they're going to feel that City, as well as they played, they're going to be exhausted. They're going to be not quite at it, you know, after a bit of a massive disappointment. So Chelsea are going to come into this game, we've got nothing to lose. We're not going to get and win the league. You know, they are going to be very lucky if they get into a European spot. They want to walk away with the FA Cup. You know, Cole Palmer for them at the moment is on fire. And there's going to be the massive debate, which we've kind of already had about City should never let him go, blah, blah. What's done is done, it's over.
I'm not, if you want to have that debate, I'm not having that debate on it.
No, and there's no need for that debate.
It leads nowhere.
Yeah, of course it does. You know, you've got to manage with what you've got.
He got two options. He chose to leave. End of. He chose to leave. End of the story on this.
Yeah. So for me, City have just got to regalvanise and just go, we go again. You know, we've got 2 cups to play for and we're in really good positions to win them. So, no, I don't think you can afford to rest anybody. I think you've got to pretty much keep the same lineup. And you've just got to say to players, it's time to knuckle down and get on with the job. Go out there and win the game.
Alan, Pat?
I think they will make a few changes. I think it'll be about 3 or 4. I think it'll be the players that are fit enough to play. There'll be some players that have really got very, very leggy. KDB did, as we know. Haaland's still struggling with an injury. If that's the truth. But there was players. Rodri was struggling towards the end.
I'm not going to lie over that, Alan.
I think Aki will definitely play. I think he will definitely play. I do think there'll be a few changes. I've got a sneaking feeling he may even have Rico playing as well.
It's fine, Alan. We don't need the backhanded digs, mate.
About what?
I don't lie.
What?
I don't lie about Alan's injury, mate. Come on.
Okay, well, no, I wasn't bad with the backhand, but if that's his truth, that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
He went over to the bench on Saturday against Luton, pointed his foot and asked to go off.
Right, well, in that case, maybe it's worth. Look, if he's bad, then it's not worth playing. We've got 6 league games to win the league, and that's a damn sight more important than the FA Cup. I'm sorry, but maybe we have to do that.
Pat?
Look, I think, Wembley, there will be some rotation, some sensible rotation as well.
Yeah.
Surely the players that came off the bench will more than likely be chosen to start. I think it's a good game for Nathan Ake to come back, as Alan alluded to. I'm quite okay if he starts this one. But I'm sure Pep and the medical team would have factored in that there was a potential for Real Madrid to go to 120 minutes. So there would have been some sort of, in-game man management, some sort of, communication between all parties there to factor that in. I'm sure they'll be factoring the same thing in if it goes to 120 minutes at Wembley as well too. Because I'm sure for a fact that they'll definitely have one eye on Brighton away as well too, because that'll be important. That will be an important game for rest recovery for a lot of these players, because as we've seen before, doesn't matter if Brighton's having a bit of an up and down season this year. We all know that when they play us, they basically turn into a bloody prime Barcelona 10 years ago. So we've got to be cautious, but at the same time also, be positive and don't try to dwell too much on what happened midweek, because at the end of the day, the way we played was still fantastic, and I'm sure if we continue that against Chelsea, we should be able to get over the line this time. I'm not too concerned about the league form. We did go a bit gung-ho in those 2 league matches. The first one we did. The second one was we just couldn't convert our chances. So that gives me confidence going into Wembley. So I feel like we get it right. And also too, I hope this isn't a jinx or an omen for the weekend. But Poch does have a little bit of a history of just not going against the sort of game plan, or not taking any sort of form he might have in the league into cup matches or cup semi-finals and finals. So talk about Pep overthinking. Sometimes Poch has a habit of overthinking when he gets to Wembley in cup finals and semi-finals. So that's something we can also look at as well.
I don't know how weak it'll be. I mean, Ortega will play, because it's cup. Yep. Walker's back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does he need a rest? He's had 2 weeks off. Stones played 30 minutes last night. As long as everything's all right, should be okay to play. Ake should be back. You're gonna have to play Diaz or Akanji. You've got nobody else.
Yep.
So one of them has to play. I think Rodri does play.
Yeah, I think that week break for Rodri is now a chance for him to just continue.
We don't play again till Thursday, don't forget.
Mm.
So that's nearly a week. It is nearly a week.
Mm.
So Sunday, Monday.
And that match is staying Thursday, isn't it? It's not getting moved, is it?
No. So that's what I'm saying. We're at Thursday for Brighton. We haven't got any more midweek games at that point, apart from obviously the Tottenham rearranged one. So then we're in every weekend. So technically at that point, you can then start resting them. It comes down to, do you want to win the FA Cup and you're not?
Mm.
Yeah.
He's done it before, though, hasn't he? In the FA Cup semi-finals, and we've ended up getting.
That's because we had a Champions League game.
Because it was wedged in between.
Yeah.
We haven't
A little bit more favourable this time. Yeah.
So at the front line, I do think Alvarez. My issue with Alvarez is Alvarez came on last night and went to the bloody left wing. He didn't even go 9.
Yeah.
Alvarez was everywhere but number 9 last night. So if you're going to play Alvarez, get it, but play him as the bloody 9. Because I do think Haaland deserves a rest. Put Alvarez in. I don't think you can drop KDB and Foden. One of them, yes. I think it'll be Foden who'll probably play, and KDB will have the rest out.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't just mass drop everybody.
I don't know. Pep does like playing Foden against Brighton, and he has played really well when they
I'm just not sure. Kevin was really stretching that hamstring last night, Pat. 4 occasions. He was watching it.
Yep.
So and then it's your winger, probably Doku. Grealish has not played a lot this season. Really should have the minutes in his legs to go.
Martin, this is something I was going to bring up during the our review of City Madrid earlier on. And I kind of was of the thought of alluding to the whole Foden and De Bruyne situation. Can they play together? Are they best when only one of them is on the pitch? And I'm going to use a comparison here that from what I saw in the 2 legs against Real Madrid that I thought was very effective for Madrid. And that was Toni Kroos and Luka Modric. The way, because they're not playing together on the pitch anymore. They're too old. But Ancelotti seems to have found a balance where he's able to play one of them in one game, or at least play one of them for 60, 70 minutes and then bring the other one on, offering a different dynamic, but still, 2 fantastic players that are able to distribute, long balls, passes, and be effective for their front men basically. Going forward, we know Kevin, even after the injury, is probably not going to be. He's still going to be an effective midfielder, but he's just not going to have the legs he had from previous years. And you want to get Phil Foden as much game time as you can because he's coming on leaps and bounds this season. Is there a possibility going forward? And there is talk about Kevin, possibly extending for another season or 2 as well. That you can sort of look into something similar, a bit of a balance between similar to what Madrid were doing with Modric and with Kroos, where you're able to sort of manage them in a way where sometimes they can play together, but they are better coming in, replacing each other for games during the season, just being as effective as each other, but not getting in the way of each other in midfield, but just coming into a game and offering that different dynamic, going forward and being more effective for our attackers. Do you get what I'm saying with that? Like the balance between Kroos and Modric. Now it's a different situation, obviously, because Phil's a young player and Kevin's a bit older, and with Kroos and Modric, they're both old. But the way that they play, the fact that one sort of works off the other, whether they're being substituted or whether they're playing together, just creates such a good balance for Madrid. And I thought if you could find a way to manage that between Foden and Kev, I think we are just as effective as well too.
I believe Kevin can drop 5-10 yards, play the quarterback, you play Foden as the 10. Because here's my thing. We're going to get onto it in the next topic with the Musiala and the Verts and everything else. If you're going by Verts and Musiala, you're going to have the exact same problem.
Yeah.
But at some point, Martin, we're going to have, if we go for Verts or Musiala, yes, it's going to be a problem because KDB will still be at the club. But there has to be a point where there's going to be a transition.
I agree, Alan. But the problem is, are we saying KDB's at that point now?
I just think that, no, I think the older you get, you do pick injuries up. Because I don't think over the next couple of years, we've got to manage his time on the pitch. And we've got to have alternatives to play in there.
Yes, I agree with you, but Musiala's not going to come in to play a bit part, mate.
I agree. But at the same point, what do we do? Wait till KDB's finished. Listen, wait till KDB's finished. And then we bring somebody in and we have to wait a year to learn how to play the Pep way. or do we transition it? Or do we transition it next season when these two are available?
You can do, but then don't
Yeah.
expect Foden in a 10 role then.
Well, this is
my whole point. We can't have a go at Southgate and then do it ourselves.
Oh, I agree. Well, I think we all agree that Foden's all right on the right every now and again, but not all the
He
time.
was garbage last night, Phil Foden.
Oh, he was terrible.
He was garbage.
He got 4 out of 10 in the Manchester review.
You don't like it, Alan. Bernardo Silva was garbage last night, Alan.
He was. The pair of them were.
Bernardo Silva, for me, is now playing like he's on the exit ramp.
Yeah, he wasn't very good last night.
He's got shiny sunshine in his head now.
I thought Jack was very good.
We'll get into it. I mean, for me, and maybe I'm being biased because I'm traveling all the way bleeding down there. I don't want to take 40,000 City fans down there and we rock out a reserve team. Otherwise, there's no point in getting to the semi-final at that point. I said this last season. We were always going to hit.
But Martin, forget you're going down to watch the game.
Then don't waste everyone's time and go all the way to the semi-final. Then, if you
but what's more important, the 6 league games we've got, or the FA Cup semi-final?
I agree with Alan. We didn't have that attitude last season, and that's how you want to try.
I know. We didn't.
Alan, it'll be.
This is why it fails for me.
What we did last season was we did sensible rotation, where it was basically we didn't rotate in bunches. We just executed man for man. Okay. Gundogan's played a handful of games. Another midfielder will come and just cover him for this game, and then he'll be ready to go again. Kyle Walker needs a rest, so we'll play Kanji or Stones at right back for this game, and then he'll have a rest. And it was always just that constant little minor rotations from game to game, where it meant that we could still keep the intensity and keep the winning runs going, but at the same time just being sensible at the man management. That's why I've said the heroes of the club last season was the medical team, because they were able to execute, they were able to monitor every player, how many minutes they were playing, how many consecutive games they were playing. And just able to just do minor tweaks, and that's why we're able to go. If we just do rinse and repeat with the same thing this season, we are well on our way to get the League Cup.
This is where it fails on me. Last season, Ozzy, you'll remember this, we were going every 3 days, momentum. Yeah. Now the tired words are coming out. And now it's a good thing we've got rest. Which road are we on here? Are we on it's good to rest, or it's good on the momentum? What we're doing is we're choosing what suits our narrative again.
Well,
because we were having a go at Arsenal for being knocked out Europa League last season and playing every 7 days.
That game now because we've hit 120 minutes and we're a bit tired and we've got a couple of injuries. We're now going into the bigger fish to fry with the Premier League.
That's why
we were pissed off last season.
It's all caused by the extra time. You have to be sensible, mate.
No, I agree, Alan, but we made subs. We made a lot of subs at extra time.
Don't forget there's every chance we're going to do another 120 minutes this weekend.
Extra time, Alan.
We might have an extra time again on Saturday.
I know, but it's like Ned's played. I think we pulled the short straw with having to play Saturday after 120 minutes. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But if you'd have played on a Sunday, you'd have had a shorter rest going into Thursday.
Yeah, true.
So again, which side of the fence is better? This is the problem. Because if we'd have played on a Sunday and we'd have been on a Thursday, we'd have gone, could have done with playing on a Saturday going into the Brighton game. And that's this is the problem. It's a no-win situation. If we go deep in these competitions, you're always going to get these problems.
Martin, I suppose the benefit is obviously having 2 Premier League matches to catch up. We are still able to keep a bit of that rhythm every 3 or 4 days going. So while I've got one eye on Brighton, I'm kind of glad that we still have some sort of rhythm of playing every 3 or 4 days, even though we will be out of the Champions League to play against Brighton. It's just maybe that week gap that you're going to have between Forest and Wolves and then Wolves and Fulham. That's when we just have to be a bit cautious and just, find ways to play rhythm and, as you said, momentum in that going just for that final push for the league title.
See, I'm just looking at it. Elliot's put Edison in. For
Okay.
me, it'll be all take because it's a cup game, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Logstones, Diaz, Ake, Rodri.
I mean, I'm okay with Eddie coming back because he's come back from injury. You might as well get him.
See, I
get him
think
going
it
for the
will be
remainder of the
that
season.
front
Yeah.
I think it'll be Doku, Jack Alvarez. Does anyone disagree on that front three?
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, look, I have no
Is
problem
there
with Haaland resting for
Any
this one.
differences on that?
I don't know if he will, but yeah, I'm okay with him resting for this one.
If he's got an injured foot, resting.
Who
I
would
think
play
he'll,
KDB or Phil? Which one would you go for, Ozzy?
I would go for Foden.
Alan?
Foden, because Foden's young, where KDB is in his 30s now.
Pat?
Yeah, Phil. KDB rested is just a sensible option.
Elliot, you've upset Alan. You put Nunes in the starting 11. Mark Fogg, thank you for the 10.
He's done that on purpose. Line me up.
You are amazing, mate. Honestly, thank you so much. Mine, I'll take your final tickets off you. See, I agree with Bria. It's really important to get back to winning race. It is. We're a wounded animal.
Yeah.
See, what's worse? I think it's a great point. This. What's worse? 2 back-to-back defeats going into Brighton. Because I'm with Bria. I think 2 back-to-back defeats could damage us in the league.
Yeah. Well, look what it's done to Arsenal.
Well, technically, it wasn't a defeat, but you know. Look, I
don't know.
I'm really, guys, I'm really curious to see what Liverpool and Arsenal do in their fixtures because again, Arsenal got Wolves away. Will not be easy, and they'll be a bit Debbie Downer after Bayern. And Liverpool being knocked out of Europe just an hour ago. They've got to play away at Fulham, and Fulham are an unknown commodity, especially at home.
Yeah.
So I'll be keeping an eye on their fixtures as well too. And I just if both teams were to drop points again, then the ascendancy is on us to go and absolutely just go for it against Brighton.
Would Pep be there for these new signings? Hopefully. Apparently that's the news we got. He will sign.
Yeah.
Just watching this João Neves for Benfica, he will be perfect. Few people have been impressed with him tonight. Still only 19. But anyway, we'll get into it. Ozzy, will we be back in Wembley in May in an FA Cup final?
Yes.
Mr. I Love Talk Sport down in the corner.
Yeah, we'll win.
You are not being forgiven for that ever, Alan. Just so you would know.
Oh, hey.
No, it's about the chat. The chat have disowned you tonight, mate.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh.
You could have rang some other show. Bloody talk shit. Pat.
Yeah.
I think we'll win. Listen, Chelsea will be difficult. Cole Palmer, yes. And I know everyone, Chelsea are on a good run, 100%, and they've gone very under the radar lately. And this is how mad these seasons are. Arsenal could finish with 0 trophies. Poch with Chelsea, who's been Jack Chelsea, could finish with an FA Cup. Who's had a better season? This is how mad these seasons are becoming.
He's changed his name to Sir Alan Brazil. Piss off.
I get over to England as much as I can. Yeah, once every 5 years. Anyway. Fucking lying bastard. Right. No one is. Yeah, by the way, you could ring mine. I'm not ringing. No, I wouldn't give TalkSport the steam off me of the you know what. Never mind giving them my money. No chance. You can tell Alan's rich. He's ringing TalkSport from Australia. Jesus. You can tell he's rich. Oh, what's that? £20 an hour? £20 a minute? Not a problem for me. Talk to my idol, Gabby Bangalore and Alan Brazil. Anyway, we weren't beaten last night. I don't know, Pardo, because Rodri's still undefeated and City aren't. I don't know what this rule is anymore. It's a very weird rule. I don't know. Right. transfers. Now, I have got a long list. I need my phone for this one. Hang on. Because I have been asking. I've had loads of updates from the legend of the person that I speak to. Right. The options. Musiala is on the list. He's on, always has been on the list. But what people need, I know Jacob Steinberg's come out with, we're advanced. We're not. Is what I've been told. I don't know where this advancement is. I don't know where this advancement's at, but we're not. We are interested. He still has a contract till 2026 with a 1-year kicker in that as well. So technically, he's still contracted till 2027. Nothing will be decided until Nagelsmann goes in. Because if Nagelsmann goes in, things will change, as the Kimmich stuff has changed. Munich are desperate for a contract renewal. Of course, he's 21. They want to keep him. But City, what it is if he doesn't sign a contract or gives any indication he wants to leave, City are then at the front of the queue and will pay the money to get him out, is what I was told.
The problem arises because they're going to get a new manager next season, whether he stays because of that, or because I know he's not a massive fan of Tuchel, is he? So,
well,
that's
Florian Wirtz. No. I get on the list, but no, he's probably going to stay. The belief is he'll stay in Germany. For the CDM role, there is a number of names. There is Douglas Luiz on that list. So he's at 95. It was 98.5 million quoted at the time. João Neves, 110 million roughly euros.
Alan, the other problem with Douglas Luiz I have too is the yellow cards. We thought Rodri had a few. Douglas Luiz has already had 2 suspensions.
Bruno Guimaraes, Pep likes the border a bit on there because they don't want to drop. You're looking at well over 100 million to get him out.
Yep. Because that release clause only applies to
European
forwards
in a minute because there is somebody else. But I got told this about 7 weeks ago. And I got told got told a price to even sit down and talk at the desk, which was Eze, which I'll come on to in a minute.
maybe.
Yeah, starting price is 85 million, Alan.
It's a bit cheaper than 120 million for Bruno, isn't it, though?
As he's not a CDM.
I know. Good player, though.
Because there is a little bit of a snag on the Paqueta thing. He may not be cleared by the UK, by the FA.
Are they not? Is that still going on, is it?
He's been cleared by the Brazilian FA. I don't know.
To be honest, Alan, West Ham are dragging their knuckles on it too.
Paqueta is absolutely pushing it as much as he can, but he's literally a one-man show on it.
Should get a lawyer on it.
Well, he gave his phone in and all his documents weeks ago, I got told, months ago. But again, reportedly, you want me to go down the reported road? What was the other thing as well? Frimpong, yes, but United are also in the mix on that one.
I saw that.
Leverkusen will have to sell somebody. Their chief exec did say that. He was quoted as saying they will have to sell one. Paulinho was the one on the list from Fulham.
Yeah. Good player.
What was the other one? Oh, and Danny Olmo. I got told that one ages ago as well by. I nearly said the name of the person. Don't say that one again. I nearly said the name.
They'll be looking at Danny Olmo for a few years now.
Alan, they look at the players we sign. We do watch them for 3 years.
Oh no!
You know this, right? So when you say Nunes was panicked by, Nunes has been on our list for 3.5 years.
Alan, they were watching him for more than a year, even after we played him.
We were watching him at Sporting Lisbon. So I never
watched him even before that.
Pep was quoted in an interview 3 years ago saying how great he was.
Yep.
So I never understand why everyone went down this Nunes panic signing road. He was always on the list.
Do we watch Calvin Phillips for 3 years?
Yeah.
Yep. Because Pep talks to Bielsa all the
Hey,
time.
welcome from LB. Welcome. I have sent LB a link if he joins. Has he still been going on? Oh, he's been doing penalties, hasn't he? He went to penalties. He was doing the Benfica game on penalties.
Yeah, just finished. Marseille went through.
Eric Dyer, no, that's not on the list. Who's going to be back up for Roddy? Because I don't see Kimmich allowing that. It could be, like I say, it could be Douglas Luiz, could be João Neves, could be all sorts. Even Elmo.
I still don't think we get a backup for Rodri. I think it is going to be.
Depends how. I think the word in it a bit different. Yeah, I think they mean that, Ozzy, but I think the word in it as in. I know what you mean, Calvin Phillips.
But Martin, you and I agree that it's Kimmich because of his versatility. He can cover Rodri when he needs a rest, but then he's still going to get plenty of game time because he can play right back and he can play number 8.
Because he's been doing it in the UK, Ethan.
You need to come off this train, mate. You need to come off this train.
Oh!
Kimmich is not
What's going on, mate?
How we doing?
Put your lights on.
Have you? Yours went to penalties, didn't it?
What, that Benfica game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was João like? Apparently, people have been saying he's been really good.
Hey, he was decent, man. He was. He kept the ball well. that was pretty much it. No, he didn't really get on the ball. Benfica weren't great. He was all right. He was decent. He was good. He was like, I need to watch more of him, but he was all right. Like, first impression. That was the first game I've watched Benfica. He was. I don't see 100 mil. I can't lie.
It's actually close, so it's about 110 million euros.
Yeah, no, I believe so. But he looked all right. But it's the first game I've watched. He gave me Gundogan vibes. But it's early days.
Why?
The way he moved, he's very slow. But you know, like Gundogan wasn't the fastest player, was he, Al? But he was very. He knew where to be on a football pitch, and I get that vibe. And tonight he played in the DM position on his own. He wasn't in a double pivot. He had no one near him. So he had a lot of responsibility and did it quite well. So it looks
all right. I find he seemed to read the game really well for a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I'd say that as well. But it's the first game I've watched, so I'm going to watch a few more. But God, it was an awful match. That awful it was.
This is why I feel that he's more likely to be signed than Kimmich, because Kimmich is for me too old. Plus, I think he's just too ingrained into the Bayern Munich. I think with a new manager coming in, he'll stay where he is. Neves is the player that I think will do the role that you've just said, LB. He's a Gundogan role where he can go into the CDM role, but he can play as that 6 as well. And I just think he could be the future that we need. And again,
it's risky though, isn't it, Ozzy? Because like, you know, with Kimmich, I get you saying Kimmich is a bit older. He's still only 29. But he's going to cost half the price.
Yeah.
So
it comes down to a tug of war whether you want the ready-made product or do you want the young, ready to be molded by Pep player that could possibly be here for 10 years or more. That's what it comes down to. Now, for me, whichever one we choose is a win-win. But I think it just comes down to if João Neves is not available and Kimmich is, then I think we go with Kimmich because then you're looking at you're looking at something effective that's going to work immediately for 3 or 4 seasons, maybe even 5 seasons. João Neves is one of those ones that is going to take time, and it may not. And going back to what we said earlier in the show, it's not going to take a season for him. Alan, sorry, let me land, mate. It's not going to take 1 season. It's going to take maybe even 2 or 3, and then we'll probably we'll start reaping the rewards of it. Yeah. Sorry, mate. Go on.
No, sorry. Do you think Kimmich is going to be available, considering there's going to be a new manager at Bayern?
Depends on who Bayern recruit, maybe. Depends on who they get come through the door.
Because if Tuchel was there, he would definitely leave.
The thing is, I don't know I wonder if Bayern, want to trim. Well, do they want to trim? Because he's on like 375k euro a week, Joshua Kimmich. Yeah. And if they're talking about possibly trying to offer, Musiala this mega contract, And then, by the end of next season, they may want to get Florian Wirtz in. And if he lights, and he's obviously lit up Europe, this season. And if he lights up the Euros and Germany go on a run, then to me, and Martin, I'm sure you agree with it as well, it just screams of a Bayern transfer for me. And I'm sure that if they could get a little bit of that wage bill down, if they get a little bit of that wage bill down, especially Kimmich, a huge amount of the wage bill, then they could go all in on a Musiala and Wirtz midfield for 2025. I think it just screams that. And you're looking then of like a Musiala Wirtz. You're just looking at this midfield duo that Bayern are just going to post as not only their poster boys for the club, but the poster boys for German football going forward for the next decade.
Well, Craig, our resident, LB, the Manchester City YouTuber resident ITK, who goes around the thing, has put in here. Good evening, Craig. The reason City and Chijano is he's due to his age, 19, got time to improve on the pair. He can play with Rodri or replace and get us 5 years to play. And would only be 24 when Rodri is finishing.
Yeah.
Can play multiple positions. I mean, at 19, LB, and he's already running or doing that CDM role on his own. He's quite credit to him.
Yep.
Yeah, no, like I say, but you shouldn't buy him just because he's 19. You buy him if he's good enough. Because look at Chelsea. That's what Chelsea did, and look what mess they've got themselves into. So if he's good enough, buy him. Don't just buy him because he's 19. You know what I mean? Like if he's good enough, then go and get him. Like I say, it's a big risk, but if the club believe it, then go and do it. Because if he is good enough, you've got him for the next 15 years.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I think that's it for me. Is that you're bringing him in to be that long-term player that you need. The problem for me with Kimmich is that he's not the future. He's a player that's going to come in. Yeah, he's going to give you a few years, Pat. But you're going to be in the same problem down the line within 2 years, 2-3 years, because he's going to get more injuries. He's not used to playing in the Premier League compared to the German league. And I just think you're looking backwards, and I think you need to look forwards with these things. I think we've talked about earlier about, this is the bit of the transition where we've still got the players of like Kevin De Bruyne, the likes of Walker, where we need to think about the future. We need to bring in the next crop of players that Pep can start moulding.
Well, Craig's put in about Danny Olmo. Now, I know we've been linked with Olmo for about 2 years now. Olmo wasn't in Manchester, apparently. His dad and his agent was at the game. City are discussing with RB Leipzig regarding release clause payment terms. And he's 25, 18 appearances this year, 4 goals, 5 assists. Could be. I mean, we do like release. We are release clause FC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no question about that. Yeah, I agree with that. We do like that, don't we?
I know. Oh, yeah. LB, I forgot to mention, he also told that Fernandinho come out at the end of his contract to join Pep's coaching team in December. When deal expires and season's end, he loved it at Sarr.
You're not surprised. Not surprised. His kids were grown up in Manchester, weren't they? So
I got told someone was going back, but I thought it was Aguero. Someone told it to me 5 months ago, and they were teasing me it was Aguero. Yeah. And I went, it'll help Ireland, and he's actually Fernandinho.
Nah, it wouldn't be Aguero. Aguero was shitting, isn't he? Aguero's loving his.
I'm pleased he's going back. I'm pleased he's going back.
Yeah, me too.
Frimpong, like I said earlier on, I've heard United. Well, I've always been told United were in for Frimpong as well.
According to news here, they're saying Danny Olmo's release clause is only £52 million.
Yeah, it's not huge.
No.
It's not huge.
What is it with German football doing the complete opposite of Spain, where they actually put really affordable release clauses rather than 1 billion? Like the Spanish.
See, look at this, Alan. Tone declined to speak to TalkSport. Unlike you, who went on talk. LB went on TalkSport yesterday, slagging Erling Haaland off.
I'm not slagging Haaland off.
LB turned into Sir Alan Brazil.
LV, go and listen to it. It's on Twitter.
No,
So I put it on there on my link so you can
Don't
listen
waste
to it.
time.
No,
I did
LB,
not slag him off.
LB, it's on the TalkSport YouTube. That's how bad it
Is it?
He's actually on the TalkSport. He's on the YouTube.
There's only one thing you need to do now, mate.
What's that?
Of all people, though, Alan, it's you who turns up on TalkSport having a go at Ireland. It's like, what are you doing?
I never go at Ireland. I just said he could improve. And he could improve. His back to goal is not the best. It's not.
Yeah, we need to buy a striker.
Yeah.
Dear
Go back to 4-4-2.
Yeah, 60 million euros release clause. City are actually going to, as we have a good relationship with them, and they also like Gomez. Because you got to remember, Gomez will go out. Probably Ortega, Sadler, Taylor Howard-Bellis, possibly McAtee.
Yeah. What Howard Bellis is, so obviously if Southampton go up, we get 20 million from them. But if they don't go up, then the talk is Ipswich wanting for 15 million.
Yes, someone will get
which is good either way. Yeah.
Probably. I'm going to be honest.
It's a shame because I know Martin and I we liked Howard Taylor Bellis. I think he's a good player.
Oh, I like him as well. I thought he was.
Yeah. I would love to see our youth players getting a proper go. I really would. But what can you do?
And McAtee made the biggest mistake going back to Sheffield.
Yeah,
Never have made that mistake.
I think he's been their best player.
Yeah, but it was a mistake that he shouldn't have gone back there.
I think Ozzy. I think the thing that might work in his favour is we're really, really thin on the English quota. So if we don't bring in more English quota players this summer, he might actually get a chance to get into the squad. You mentioned something on previous show, didn't you, Martin, about him possibly getting back in?
Who?
James McAtee.
He's liked by Pep. He's liked by him, isn't he?
Yeah, because the lack of quota might save him. Might keep him around.
Oh, Carl Walker's been talking. I didn't know about that. Barcelona have done that one. I'm just saying, someone just said City extra.
How are you feeling after last night, LB? Because I know you were a bit upset. I saw you bit of your end of your stream. Feeling all right now?
Yeah, I wasn't angry. It's probably the first time in the Champions League that we've been knocked out. I wasn't angry. I was just a bit gutted. You know what I mean? Because I thought we played well, created the chances. If we actually put the ball in the net, we would have won the game. Yeah. It's not like other times when like something's happened or like we've just done something stupid or Pep's done a like stupid decision. Like we played well. We deserved to win. We dominated Real Madrid, and it's just a shame that our players. I think the players today will be gutted because they know like it was there. You know, they've let themselves down with the finishing. Yeah. So
I left the pub last night. This was in the morning. It was yesterday morning, and I wasn't angry at all with the players. I wasn't angry with Pep. I was just gutted. I was absolutely gutted, and you know, I was quiet for the first 2 hours yesterday morning when I was working. I was just writing emails and proposals. I thought I don't want to speak to anyone. I was gutted. I was absolutely gutted.
Yeah, same, mate. You can't really be mad, can you? What can you be mad at? Like,
no, because they gave everything they've got. You know, I was frustrated at Foden didn't play well. Bernardo didn't play well either. They had them in the wrong positions. You should have swapped them basically from the start. I think we lacked creativity when they were sitting deep, which they did, because and really struggled. I thought Jack played well, and so did Doku. They both played well, and they both did. You know, both created good opportunities. I was just gutted that KD missed an absolute sitter, which he did. It was a real shame because I jumped up in the pub. I jumped up with everybody else. We thought we'd scored. I couldn't believe it when he missed.
It's interesting from Craig.
Hey?
It is. Craig's
signing.
Wow.
New contract was in discussions this week. We see again his wife, kids are settled and expects a new baby.
Didn't expect that. I thought it was a short.
Makes you wonder the talk about him rejecting like the last 3 contracts or something is maybe just like, I don't want to do this during the season. because we've had that before with other players too. They said like, I don't want to do it, and then it's spun as like, no, they keep rejecting the contracts. Like, well, some players don't want to worry about contracts while they're trying to push for trophies or get to the end of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, Craig's putting all sorts of things over. Outs, Gomez, Phillips, Cancelo, Delap, Callum Doyle, Tommy Doyle, Kabore, McAtee, Howard Bellis will all be sold with Yankutu if he doesn't sign a new deal.
I'll tell you what has done well out on loan and for every club has been at is Tommy Doyle. He's done really well,
Yeah, he's had some good games for the Wolves this season.
Yeah,
he's not just been a squad player. He's actually played like a good stretch of matches.
Yeah, he's done really, really well. He's a good footballer.
Bernardo possible, but Bars can't afford 50 men. Think you're going to try and get him if City move for Neves.
Well, you remember we've got Savio coming in as well.
Is he coming or not? Because Savio has been told he's staying if they get Champions League football.
He'll be a pre-season regardless.
He'll be there pre-season.
Yeah. And that'll be something for you and I to keep an eye on in Orlando.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to see Savio play a fair bit.
Yeah.
Some of us are hardcore and go all over the world, you see.
You won't be there, Martin. You'll be doing the Disney fucking Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck shit. That's what you'll be doing. I know you. You'll be there.
I've already got my ticket, Alan.
Yeah, no, but for family will say, no, Mickey Mouse, please. Mickey Mouse.
Alan, I bought his ticket for the match.
My missus
I bought his ticket for the match. No, this isn't a dig at Martin. I've already got his ticket for the match, okay? Which, if you do the mathematics, that probably equates to around about 200 Energizer batteries. So you'll be plenty well stocked for your TV remote, mate. So don't worry.
No, don't worry. I'm not intense to go to pre-season.
Well, yeah, so it's all going off. But what are your feelings Saturday, LB? Because obviously we were talking about that earlier on.
Quite nervous actually now. Because I just think that if we would have won the game in 90 minutes, then I'd be really confident. But because it went 120 minutes and then we got knocked out, the players are going to have to pick themselves up, aren't they? You know what I mean? And it's a big, we all know Wembley's a massive pitch. It's like, you can have like people don't know this, but like the pitches can be different sizes within a limit. And Wembley's the max. So it's a big pitch. And I just think we just need to we usually score first. I think we score first.
Yeah.
I think we're fine. But if they score first, it could be a long day, man. So be interesting to see what team he puts out because I think he's going to have to make changes. Wouldn't surprise me if Oscar Bob started, Really wouldn't.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. Who's got the smallest pitch in the Premier League?
I bet it's like something that you
Fulham
don't expect.
Or Bournemouth? Has to be Fulham or Bournemouth, surely.
I bet it's something you don't expect, man.
No,
Liverpool, Anfield.
Correct.
Is it?
Correct.
Yeah,
It's the narrowest pitch, that's definite. It's narrow.
Right.
Yeah.
No, LB, you're right. I think it's just the rebound that probably leaves us with a little bit of uncertainty. But look, I to be honest, I think I hope the lads have got the bit between their teeth because I like it when we play angry. We play angry. We just
Trafford. No, Trafford's gone, mate. We've got a buyback, but we won't be doing that buyback.
No, he got dropped from
So
Yorich.
Trafford's gone.
Another goalkeeper for City.
Yeah, he's not on loan, mate. He's gone. We sold him.
Yeah.
About 2 keepers off us, and they've both been bad for them.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll buy another goalkeeper off us ever again.
I always liked Yorich, I was really hyped for Yorich.
Yeah, well, he fell in that category of another sort of like cold hero keeper that won us a cup. Or he got us on the way to winning a cup, Bravo did it, Willie did it, and Muric, was fantastic in that formidable season, leading up to the final.
I mean, don't forget we did beat them the last time we played them in a semi-final. 2-0, Aguero.
That's right.
Aguero header. Was it the Aguero header?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, but let's not talk. Let's not talk about the final. Let's not talk about the final that preluded that. Yeah, came after it.
So there you go. Say you have to be careful next season. New loan rules come into place. You can only loan 8 players out each season. So it's difficult to sign Sabio, then loan him out. Then you're running out of spots, Craig. Then you're not going to get as many signings as fans want. Unless
Chelsea are going to be screwed, aren't they? Because at one point they had 40-odd people on fucking loan.
Yeah. This is where the you'd expect the group to be utilised, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Although, Alan, I think Chelsea will be having an absolute garage sale anyway, because if the talk is about their, FFP, PSR, whatever it is, I think they need to get a lot of money coming through and get a lot of.
They sold 2 hotels. They sold 2 hotels, haven't they? They sold 2 hotels, which it counts onto their financial statement. So they've sold sold them, and they're going to talk
to themselves or something.
Yeah.
And they sold it to the other like company, and then put a management lease contract on it, so they get the revenue still. So they've sold it.
Very, very clever.
It's incredible. Clever. They've sold it. They book the profit because they've sold the hotel, so they get the profit on the books, and then the company that they sold it to give the club a contract to run the hotel, so then they still get the money from all their hotel sales. It's insane.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I must admit, when I listened to that, I heard that, I burst out laughing. I just thought that's clever. He knows exactly what he's doing. He does. He's clever. Yeah, very good. And apparently, the year after, they might have to raise more money, and they're talking them now selling the training ground back to themselves as well.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's what Derby County did. Derby County did that with the stadium out, but it's not allowed to do it in the championship.
Didn't Real Madrid do something similar?
Yeah, they did it as well.
They did it as well to raise the money.
Well, I think what we've got to realise with transfers is it's up to Pep and the club. And for me, I'll just back whatever they want to do, and we'll see what happens. But
let's not. There's no panic buys like last year. Mr. Nunez.
God,
he's not good.
How can a guy be on a list for 3.5 years?
He's not good enough, Martin. Not for us. Not for us.
Alan, we have been through the players earlier on in the stream. And he's got more assists than some of our other superstar signings we made.
Oh, mate, he's also given the ball away more times than anybody else as well.
Alan, he still has 5 assists in 800 minutes of football. For a first-year signing, that is not bad. Sorry, Sir Alan Brazil of TalkSport.
Yeah.
God's sake.
They had me.
Anyway, I think we'll cut it there because we're well on, and we'll end up talking about trains like me and LB did the other day. We'll end up on train fares and all sorts. That was actually a really good stream.
Are you driving down that weekend, Martin?
Yeah, I'm going down tomorrow night.
Yeah. Oh, right. You're staying over then. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm staying halfway down at a, what they called? Ibis. Whatever they called.
Ibis was, yeah. Basic Ibis.
I'm not. And then I'll get there, get into Wembley nice and early. And then Saturday, Sunday, after the game, I'm driving straight back. So
we used to stay at Watford. Watford was a great one. Get into Watford, park up, and then just jump on, and then when you get back in, exactly. And then when you get out, get in your car, you've missed all the main get out, you're straight back on. So that was our favourite.
LB, I bet you're probably paying like a bloody 10th of the price of what you would for accommodation in downtown London.
Hang on. Martin is back in Haaland, but quit Slag Bernardo, scored in the first leg. I'm not sure what.
Oh,
calm down, Alan. Did you say something? No, the point I'm making is Haaland has scored 31 goals. Does he need to improve? 100%, but he also needs the service.
Well,
my issue with Bernardo last night.
That's what I was talking about, mate. On Talk Shite. So I was exactly saying, do City need to play the Haaland way, or is it the other way around? Because at the moment they don't match each other.
Martin is back in Ireland anyway. No, so my point was Bernardo Silva was not good last night, and I don't think he's had a particularly great season. And I do think he'll leave in the summer. I think he's a wonderful player, but he now looks as though it's sadly coming to an end, and that's fine. He's been an amazing player, and I wish him all the best. But sometimes happiness, he's won everything he can at City now. He asked for the release clause, he got the release clause, and he got a year of increased wages. So I wish him all the best. We will miss him, but we move on.
Yeah.
Craig, Martin, keep an eye on his LB's during summer. And is there any exclusives we'll release there first before discuss where I'm sure he'll be in the chat.
Yes.
Come on, Craig.
I'm not saying anything.
Oh, no, you go. Yeah, oh, yeah.
What you say? Say it.
I'll tell you off air. Do you think the check? Because
I've been waiting for my invite on the LB show that everyone else seems to go on. Yeah, I never get one. I wonder why.
What do you mean?
I wonder why.
Yeah, likewise.
There'd be murders in my chat if you came on my channel.
I'm okay, man. I'm cool. Don't worry.
Sorry, I was just doing something. Anyway, right, we're going to end it there. Yeah, pros, exactly. Some people just want to hear what they do. Craig signed an exclusive deal with LB.
What, a 2-year deal with an option for a third. Good. You got business is business.
No release clause.
Business is business.
Business is business.
But how longer would you miss the guy?
I swear we've got release clauses in our contract, haven't we, Pat?
I know.
Yeah.
Start showing how to run the most on the pitch, but didn't achieve much.
But no one did. No one did. Like,
yeah,
I don't really want to be in a situation where I'm like digging individuals out yesterday. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we should have won. So like, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm just kind of like, the only player I gave a bad rating for yesterday was Haaland. You know what I mean? Because like, as much as I think that we need to work on the way that we play, because I don't think we play to his strengths at all. Like literally, he has said in an interview, right, himself, that he needs to work on his heading. He said his heading is the worst part of his game. That's what he said, not my words, his. So what do? We just fucking spam crosses in for him to head. You know what I mean? We didn't give him a single chance in that game yesterday on with the ball on the floor. Having said that, he does need to do better. I think his confidence is on the floor.
Yeah, I thought he did all right off the ball yesterday.
Nah, bro, the ball was bouncing.
He was running into midfield and was fighting.
He was bouncing off him, Martin.
Nah, his hold-up play was poor yesterday.
He was running into midfield, and he was chasing down balls.
I thought his hold-up play yesterday was poor, man. But I think he's low on confidence. I really think he's low on confidence.
I got told he's still carrying the injury, LB. He's on pain.
Would not surprise me, because if you look at his record.
Can't believe our season may be over Saturday night. It's not a league game.
Yeah, no, our season's not over on Saturday night. We've still
got 6
Premier
League games.
Yeah, we've still got Premier League.
I'm with you, LB. I think he is on the floor at the moment.
Yeah, he needs. You know what's annoying, Al? Yeah, you know that Villa game where we rested him.
Yeah,
I genuinely think if he would have played in that game, he'd probably scored a hat trick because we created so many chances.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he would have.
But we didn't play.
Should we just also mention too? Obviously, what came in just over the last day or so about the Premier League and the FA changing the rules regarding fixtures in the FA Cup and that
too. Replays.
Yeah, so no more replays. I'm just going through it now because I've just seen it's been posted here. So obviously, they're going to scrap the winter break and opt to have a longer summer break, which I think is fine with me. It's what it was years ago, and it should have stayed that way. All rounds of the Emirates FA Cup will now be played on weekends. So none of this sort of midweek. None of this sort of midweek. Sorry.
So just say that again, please.
They're saying all rounds of the FA Cup will now be played on weekends. So there'll be no more like the rounds after the Premier League teams come in, where they'll be doing midweek. Around around February, March time of year, which.
I think it's round 5.
Probably means there's going to be more league fixtures being pushed into midweek later in the season then too, isn't it?
Yeah.
What is it? Fourth round, fifth round, and quarterfinals of the FA Cup will all be. Exclusive of Premier League fixtures for the first time.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Exclusive of Premier League fixtures for the first time. 4th round, 5th round, and quarterfinals of the FA Cup will all be exclusive of Premier League fixtures for the first time. as well. Competition will be played without replays from the first round onwards.
Okay.
Yeah, so no more replays, which kind of loses a bit of the traditionals factor to it for me. But also, given the workload of players now, I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, well, the thing from the first round, the idea is for the smaller clubs to get more income as well. Yeah. So that's a bit of a shame because they're struggling financially as it is.
Yeah.
So
and finally, from a financial standpoint to this, the Premier League will provide up to an additional £33 million for grassroots football on top of the, I believe it's 100 million it currently gives to good causes each season.
It's a real shame. I remember going to a few Bury games when they were getting replays at Gig Lane, because obviously I lived on the other side of Bury, so I used to go occasionally when they were getting replays. So it's a real shame. That's a real shame.
I laugh at Alan because you get a life story. I used to live on this road.
I lived in Walshaw, didn't I? I moved
to the
house in Walshaw.
I live in Melbourne.
What's the name of your pub again? What's the name of your pub you go to in Whitefield again, mate? The Prancing Pony or something, or the
I used to go to the Vic and the White Horse. I used to go. Then the Welly on the Then the Welly on Bury Bolton Road. That's where I used to go.
The Elephant Wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are going to leave it there because it is late and everyone's getting. Yeah. If we carry on, Alan will be on the Smarties and getting too giddy. Thank you to everyone. LB, thank you for jumping in at the end, mate.
Cool.
What have you got on tomorrow? Out planned?
Yeah, I'm doing a show with Nobbins at 11. Then I'm going to just record a couple previews. I'm going out of town tomorrow. So mate's birthday, so yeah, I'm gonna go town and have a few beers. So yeah.
Nice.
Don't say it, Alan. He's probably not going for a curry. Anyway,
he's going to Bardacuba.
I'm going where?
You went to Bardacuba on in town. That's a good night out there in there.
I'd never even heard of it.
LB, never get his number. Never give your number to
Why?
You never get rid of him.
No.
Oh, really?
No, you're the one that wakes me up at 3:30 in the morning, ringing me up.
I'll say thank you for coming on, mate. As always.
Yeah. As always, a pleasure.
See you.
Thank you for getting.
Thank you, Martin. Yeah, I'm looking forward to a nice week off work now. No idea what I'm going to do. I could spend 7 days.
All you ever do is
I do work. I just have a very flexible schedule. So, yeah, I've got a week off, so I could be doing anything from being a complete introvert for 7 days up to possibly going to New York for 5 days. So I really don't know yet.
Do a watch along for the Chelsea game. I'll set you up.
Do a watch along.
Yeah.
Maybe. See how it goes.
You'll be a cheers, mate. You'll be a cheers.
There won't be a post-match on Saturday because obviously I will be in London. We'll move the post-match to Sunday. Sunday evening, probably about 9ish, 10ish. But keep an eye on the socials where you will find out. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone in the chat. You are all legends. Thank you. Make sure you hit those likes. If you are new, please consider hitting that subscribers. We try and hit 4K by May. And big up to Mingy One, Chrome, Daniel, Cade, Nathan, and Matt Fogg for all renewing their memberships. And Matt Fogg for again gifting a further 10 memberships out to people on the channel. You are all legends, as you all in the chat. And you know where to find LB. I'm not going to tell you all to go and subscribe to LB because you already are.
Everyone does. Everyone does, mate. Don't worry.
Cheers, guys.
I'll be watching you on the watch along this weekend because Martin's at Wembley. I'm down in Tassie this weekend.
Oh yeah.
So I'll be watching you, mate. I'll send you some super chats. Don't worry, pal.
And then Martin cries about it.
You know, I won't mind. He promotes other channels more than us. I'm like, what are you doing?
So you know the rule there, Martin. Alan, say something stupid again, and then get banned for a few weeks and send a few super chats to Martin. It's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious bloody cycle.
Honestly, LB, even when he went to talk sport, he never mentioned Mancunian. I find out that's a good thing. Don't mention us. I don't want to be associated with that dross. Yeah, thank you all. Focus on each game one at a time. Spot on. Only negative to Ireland. Got people having some right debates about Ireland in this chat. Enjoy the game, Martin. City won't sort my ticket. I'm still not sorted that. Gutted for you, mate. Better go to the final. So better get to the final so you can go. Great show. Thank you. Connor's gone for a 2-1 win. Banny Melby. I think he means you, Alan.
Don't worry. I'm on at 6:30 in the morning with Alan Brazil. If you want to tune in, I'm on again because I'm invited on. So there we go.
It's only because every other City fan said no. Great show. Come on, big up. What time is Martin arriving at Wembley? I might do a live from one of the fan parks. I'll let it depends on the Wi-Fi down there. Sometimes it's good, other times it's garbage. But I'm down there. And also, I am trying to organise, hopefully on Monday. I'm still waiting. Maybe it will be next week. I've spoke with Steve. We are going to do the Main Road Day show.
Good.
That will start next week. Had that confirmed. We just need to sort out day and time, so we'll sort that out. So yeah. Take care, all. Thank you all, and we'll see you in a day or two. Take care.
See ya.
Later.
See you, guys.